You just got to take that small step from fear to curious and anxious. And AI is going to take care of the rest, right? If you get in, you start using it, it becomes somewhat addictive. I don't like to use that term, but it draws you in and you go, you know what? I did this. My life is easier here. What if I did that and my life got easier here? Oh my goodness, right? And then you start to really get curious about, how do I influence this? How do I not just use AI, but how do I influence AI?
AI isn't the future, it's now. And whether you're in HR, sales, operations, or leadership, the choices you make today will determine whether you thrive or get left behind.
We are live at the AI-Powered Women's Conference here at MIT. This is the AI Voice or Victim podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Victoria Vojnovich. This is a dear friend of mine, and she is a tech exec, a thought leader, and y'all, she is a lifelong learner. This woman is just now finishing her PhD in adult education and lifelong learning. So, Victoria, welcome to AI Voice or Victim. How are you?
I am great, Erica. How are you?
Girl, I am so pumped because we are talking about my favorite topic, women in AI.
Absolutely.
Women in AI. So tell me right now, what is the state of women in AI?
Well, so if we're going to be completely honest, and you know me, fully transparent, completely honest.
No filter.
It's no filter. It's not so great, right? Unfortunately, only 22% of all AI roles globally are filled with women. 22%. And so think what that gets us. I love the quote, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, right? It's a great quote. If we are not building AI, if we are not creating the agents, we don't get to be part of the conversation. We cannot sit on the sidelines and say, well, I wish AI had this, or I wish AI did this, or, oh no, look at that bias in AI. Look at what's happening. Wait a minute. I asked for a picture and the only pictures they gave me were men. Where are the women? We're not in the conversation. We're not in the conversation. So the state today, not great. The good news is we are still at the infancy of AI. So it's not like we're 20 years down the road and we've got to claw back so much history and so much built in. We have the opportunity to stop it, but we got to stop it now, right now.
I think that, Greg experienced this firsthand when you were playing with ChatGPT or something and you said, give me a picture of a CEO.
Yep.
Greg Boone is a CEO. He is a tall black man. And do you think they gave him anything that looked like him? Absolutely not. They definitely didn't give anything that looked like me either. That's for sure.
And I did a very similar example. I asked DALL-E, which is one of the AIs that generates images, to give me a conference table of women executives. They gave me 6 women around a conference table, all in the exact same suit, 2 hairstyles. That was the only difference.
Were we wearing pantyhose?
We were wearing pantyhose and kitten heels, right? And I was just like, okay. And I even was very specific in the prompt. I want it multicultural. I want it multi-generational. None of that. None of that.
So it's actively being built, leaving all women, minorities completely out.
And because we're not in the conversation, right?
Yeah.
We are measuring success or failure, in this case, from the sidelines. We have to get in the game. We have to get in the game. And I think that was when you asked, what would you like to talk about? This wasn't women should be in the game or women can be in the game. We absolutely need to be in the game. If we're not in the game now, it's going to be very hard to get in the game later.
Yeah.
Right? We are not the injured reserve team. We are not the practice squad. We need to be on the field today.
Well, one of the reasons I do this podcast is because my mission is to get more women into positions of power and keep them there. And Greg asked me to do this AI podcast. I was like, I don't do AI. And he's like, actually, yes, you do. Yeah. Number one. But he actually gave me kind of this roadmap so that I could go from being AI anxious to more curious about it and become AI confident. But I think that we need to create more opportunities for women to do that. Like this conference is a great place, but what else can we be doing to get women in those rooms?
So I think I loved your comment about AI anxious. I actually think with a lot of women, it's AI fear. It's well below anxious. So it's not, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know where to start. This is not from me. And we have seen this throughout history with women in STEM careers. We know that to get girls to become women involved in STEM, we need to start at middle school. If we haven't hit them by 5th grade, it is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And so we have programs like Girls Who Code, where we go into middle schools and have them create a dance party using basic coding. The thing is, they still get that coding gene burned out of them through high school if they don't have teachers, if they don't have counselors, if they don't have support. The thing that's really cool about AI is you could throw the coding fear away. You could develop your own AI agent without writing a line of code. That is how far the technology has advanced. So if we could even move women from AI fear to AI anxious, if we can get them to anxious but curious, then we've got them. And so my goal is to help us find ways to really decrease the barriers of entry, to get women to understand it doesn't matter what your education is. It doesn't matter what your history is. It doesn't matter what your job is, what field, where you live. Those are not barriers to AI entry. The only barrier to AI entry at this point is fear. And the more that we educate, and that's why I'm such a fan of lifelong learning, the more we educate, the lower the fear gets. And if we can set up, I love that there is one of the sessions that's coming up that says build your own agent. And it has in bold letters, low code, no code, right? It tells every woman at this conference, forget about where you come from, get yourself to this session, and when you walk away, you're going to have an agent. And it's contagious, right? You write the first agent, you're going to want to write the second agent. You're going to want to write something more complex. Still all low code, still all no code, right? You don't have to be a Python programmer. Yes, we need those. I'm going to tell you we do. I come from a tech company. My goal is to get as many women Python programmers as possible, but it's not a barrier to entry, right? Get in, get settled. And if you want to learn Python, we've got great ways to get you to do that too. So, but we've got to get women onto the field. That's our biggest
and I think
thing.
what's important there is I love what you're saying, right? There's no barrier to entry. ChatGPT paid version $20 a month. I mean, we can all afford that. But the reason is the why behind it. And why is this so important that women are leaning in? It's not just because I want, ChatGPT to give me a female CEO.
Right.
It's because there's a pay gap right now that's going to last 132 years if nothing changes, right? That number grew when COVID hit because it was women who left the workforce. So what do we think is going to happen to the representation gap, the leadership gap, the confidence gaps? All of those gaps are going to be impacted if we don't lean into AI. So it's like, it's like begging these women to understand that it's not just about being techie.
Right.
It's about being paid, being represented, having our seats at the table.
Exactly. And it's interesting that you brought up the pay gap. The pay gap was set back 130 some years by COVID. The leadership gap, women in leadership in business, was set back 187 years. Think how many generations it will be before we get 50-50 representation. And that's just on boards. So if you think about corporate boards where a woman is the CEO, they actually can't calculate it right now. Deloitte's Women at Work 2024 reported when they did a women in boards, so they did an executive women on board summary from the Women at Work study, they cannot calculate when we will get to 50-50 women CEOs on boards. It's just not calculable because the progression has slowed to less than 1% increase per year in the last 10 years. So we are so far away from it, there's just not even a date. And that's really, really scary, right? So if you think about in 2015, the United Nations set a set of 17 global sustainable development goals for our planet that says we have to do these things and we need to do them in the next 15 years. So by 2030, or we may reach a point of no return. Goal number 5 is global gender equity for women and girls. And there are 9 tenets to it. Everything from women in government to women in leadership to violence against women. It spans the whole array of global gender equity. They did a halfway checkpoint in 2023 and found out we are only 35% towards the goal of 2030. So if we double, triple, quadrupled our efforts, we're not going to hit it. We're not going to hit it. We need to get closer. It was a call to action. And this is part of that call to action. Getting women in AI is part of that call to action. If we get them in AI, then we get them into governance, right? Think about the policies that are being put in place right now to govern AI. Europe just put a whole set of responsible AI policies in place. In the US, we're trying to build some. Not so thrilled at where they're going, but we're trying to build some. But if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. Because if there is no conscious, intentional way to build policy to support gender equity, it isn't going to show up.
And what I love to think about this when I think about the future of work, right, is we've always heard it's like, it's not AI that's going to take your job. It's people who know AI that's going to take your job.
Yep.
I think there's that third piece. It's people who know AI that excel at the people skills, the empathy, the human connection, which we know.
Yep.
No shade to you,
sir. You can say it.
Who excels at that? Women do. And so I want to just use that almost as like this encouraging piece that's like, if you can get over this AI fear, if you can just lean in a little bit, just enough to get a little bit comfortable, you're going to recognize like how that could skyrocket your career, how that could close the gaps.
Exactly. And I love how you put that. You just got to take that small step from fear to curious and anxious. And AI is going to take care of the rest, right? If you get in, you start using it, it becomes somewhat addictive. I don't like to use that term, but it draws you in and you go, you know what? I did this. My life is easier here. What if I did that and my life got easier here? Oh my goodness, right? And then you start to really get curious about, how do I influence this? How do I not just use AI, but how do I influence AI? Then you start to take on those deeper skills.
Yes.
Then you start to build a space where the innate women's leadership, and you're absolutely right, both Pew Research and Fortune did studies. There's 17 core leadership skills. Women excel at 13 of the 17. Like, they're just on top.
It's a no-brainer.
So it's really not, it's not conjecture. There's data. And we don't get to that place because we're stuck in this barrier to entry. So my feeling is the more that we can have podcasts like yours, the more that we can get the message out that the barrier is not the brick wall that you think it is. It's a door and you just have to turn the handle and walk through it.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of chime in, I've had some similar experiences over the years. I remember I graduated my computer science degree back in 2000. And I remember looking around and it was probably 30-40% women in my graduating class. But then I remember coming back and talking to folks like, hey, what are you going to go do? I would say of the women that I graduated with, only probably 10% of them actually went into tech type roles.
Yep.
Many of them went into marketing and other things. And one of the things that they would say to me is that we have great ideas, but we don't really want to write code all day.
Yeah.
And so to your point, I'm with you on that, that whole idea. Like, there's a lot of great people that have great ideas that now you have the tools to actually go from memos to demos.
Exactly.
Right? Or being able to build these things. And I had a similar situation where my wife was asking me on Juneteenth this year, I got invited to an AI group session. Our office was closed and supposed to well, why are you working? And I said the same thing. I said, well, if I don't have a seat at the table, then that means I'm on the menu and I'm not going to just watch somebody carve up my future.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Now, granted, I graduated from college when I was 4. So we're just going to set that out there.
Fair.
Okay. But I was one of 3 women to get a computer science degree when I graduated. And I was absolutely intent on being a software developer for my life. Like, I was like, I beat the men. I made it here.
Okay.
There is no way I'm going to do anything but write code. When I joined my first company, that was beat out of me. because I was so exhausted, physically exhausted from being the only woman on my team, only one woman in my organization. It went up 4 layers of management before there was another female so I had no mentoring, I had no support. Now, we also know that those same things that burned me out are burning out fresh grads.
Yes.
Yep.
So we know that 50% of young women who graduate with a STEM degree, by the time they're 30, they are out of STEM. Either they may be working for tech companies, but they are out of coding, out of everything. Again, I think that AI has the potential to be the great equalizer in this space. There's a great movie, older movie, that was about these students in Los Angeles, and this teacher, his name was Jaime Escalante. He taught these kids from the barrios of LA to do calculus in a school that was failing everywhere. It was going to be taken over by the state, then it was going to be shut down. And he came in, he was a tech guy who left to teach. And he told these kids, calculus is the great equalizer. If you know calculus, nobody can take anything away from you. And so he got permission from their parents for them to come to school over the summer to stay late. And he graduated these kids. And the first class of 17 in their AP calculus, all of them got AP Calc credit in college, in a school that didn't even send kids to college.
Wow.
And he just said it was the great equalizer. And that phrase has stuck with me. AI for women is a great equalizer. We just need people to turn that handle and walk through the door.
Well, and in so many instances, it is the great equalizer, because I know for myself, as a woman, as a mom, the things that I can use AI for to accomplish,
Yeah.
like I get that done so fast and I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And Greg and I talk a lot, and you said, like, how do we get people to lead in? We go really big on making it personal, make it safe, make it fun.
Yeah.
And that personal moment for me is that first time we can give someone this aha moment of like, oh my God, this changed my life.
Absolutely.
What was your aha moment?
So I actually did AI before AI was popular. It was a very old AI language called Lisp. Again, I was in college when I was 4.
I said, he's going to know it.
It was work I was doing for the Department of Defense at the time. And what I realized was, and I was doing it as a coder, how much time it took me to write that code in a traditional engineering language. At the time, the Department of Defense used a programming language called Fortran, which is very engineering. Graduated when I was 4. Keep that in mind.
It's like assembly language programming.
My very first coding class was in assembly language. Again, I was 4. But we translated everything into Lisp, and the amount of time saved to do so much more work was my first aha. Then AI kind of went dormant. So when it came back, I was ready, right? I'm like, I already know from the old days how much this helps you. I can tell you how it has helped me most recently is I have a full-time job, keeps me busy about 70 hours a week, and I am writing my dissertation. I'm in the final phase of my PhD. I needed help sometimes just putting all these ideas in my head onto paper. And there's this whole conversation in education. Well, we can't use AI. That's really not academic integrity. And I've been able to really understand where that line is, right? Yes, I don't want ChatGPT to generate my dissertation. And if it did, I'd be really mad anyway, because I put way too much work and way too much time and way too much of my soul into it. But to be able to say, I have these ideas, here's all my stuff, and I just, blow it out. And I actually don't use ChatGPT. I use another AI that is specifically because it is emotionally intelligent. And I really wanted to kind of pull that feminine side, given my research topic. But all it does is says, oh, here's a key word. And I will say things like, point out the words that could be better phrased with a female intent, or using female transformative thinking, or using empathy, or using some of these skills. And all it's doing is pulling out the words. I could sit there and read it over and over again, but you all know if you read something the same time, it's going to say what you think it says, even though it's not what it says. So to me, that was my first aha moment, was it helped me to be able to put into phrasing things that I knew were already in my head, but didn't have the time or the bandwidth given my day job and trying to do this at the same time to really generate, right? Does it change my dissertation? No. Does it violate academic integrity? No. Did it speed up my work? Oh, heck yeah.
Because
Like,
also
big time.
you're writing in a book, so
Yes,
you're
and
an
I
author as well.
Exactly. So there's just a lot going on. And so when I see what I am able to do productivity wise across these different spaces that I'm holding right now, you know,
Game changer.
game changer.
Game changer, especially for women who carry the mental load, who
Yes.
do the bulk of the admin
Good
work,
yep.
all of that. So I love that. Oh my gosh, Victoria.
I have to ask a question.
Go
though.
ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, what is your
I did want to know that.
AI
Yes.
of
What is
choice?
this AI
'Cause
tool?
I wrote down what I'm guessing.
Oh, it's called Pi, P-I.
Oh, I've seen that. I didn't think
Yeah,
that.
it was actually started by the people who moved on to OpenAI. So they left, and then another company bought it. But yeah, so Pi.ai is free, and it is emotionally intelligent. So it really is able to hit those nuances, which is what I wanted. I didn't want somebody to write for me. I wanted somebody to kind of be my Jiminy Cricket, right? To say, hey, pay attention to that.
Yep,
I was guessing he's going to either say Claude or Jasper, or
Yeah,
but
well, Claude, I mean, everybody's got their preferences, right? I kind of rotate between ChatGPT, Gemini. If I want something to do statistical, I will definitely sit in Gemini because that to me is the most engineering kind of centric. And then Pi is for me at my core, right? Everybody's got to figure out what's right for them at their core.
tell everyone we're in this era of taste and trust, and there's going to be so much optionality. You got to go through the tools that get you.
And when you're very mindful of bias and you're very mindful of what already exists, for me, that's a kind of a tasting point. If I start to see some bias, I'm going to throw it away, and it may come back and say, oh, by the way, this is what you got to learn, AI.
If you want me to use
and
you.
I'll go teach it. But I don't really have time to do that right now.
No, fair point,
Yeah,
fair point.
yeah.
Well, Victoria, to wrap this up and drive it home, like what is the one thing that you think women need to be doing so that we do dip our big toes in there, right? And we lean in, because you're right, we're going to have these exacerbated pay gaps, leadership gaps, representation gaps. That's all bad news. And it's very possible if we don't lean in. So what is that one thing we need to be doing?
So I think there's two things that we need to be doing. I'm going to change it to two.
I love it.
One, if you're in AI, spread the word. Talk to every person you know in every way that you can that says it's not scary, it's not dangerous, you're safe, and agree to be a buddy, a mentor, a support, right? Hey, if you're really that anxious about it, sit with me. We'll get on a Zoom call for 30 minutes. I'm going to show you it is not scary. So that's one, if you're in. Two, I say this in the same way that I say things about sponsorship. Reach behind you and find somebody who's not in and bring them in. And we all know, I'm sure we could look just in our own very the smallest of our spheres, and a lot of us have big spheres, find one person, find one woman who's not in and say, hey, would you be willing to spend 30 minutes with me and let me show you how this can change your life? And by changing your life, you're going to change the world.
Yes.
And I really, really, really mean that. I know that's starting to become somewhat cliche, right? Like change one person, change the world. Here, I really think it makes a difference. I really think it makes a difference. We are not going to get close to meeting those sustainable development goals. We're not even going to get close unless we all turn around and bring one person with us.
Amen.
And if you can bring 10, but at least bring one.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. Victoria, thank you again. This is the AI Voice or Victim podcast. We are live at the AI-powered Women's Conference at MIT. That's why you hear all this exciting stuff going around, because we are in the room where women are doing it. So Victoria, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you both for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on AI, Voice or Victim. If you want to stay competitive in the AI age, start now. Take one insight from today's episode and put it into practice in the next 24 hours. Make sure to follow us, share your thoughts, and subscribe for more actionable AI insights. See you next time.